you are watching this video, it means that you are really interested to learn FortiGate firewall. You are in the right place because in this one video, I'm going to cover almost all the important topics of the FortiGate firewall. If you are a beginner, this is the best session, best video. You are watching it. And in this, I will cover one by one, very basic. If you just look on the topology, this is like a very comprehensive and the practical topology, which is similar to the production environment you will see somewhere in the any enterprise. I have set up a branch office here. It means that we have some certain users behind the access switch and the core switch. All of them are protected by a FortiGate firewall. It means that they are behind the firewall, and anyone wants to access to the internet, they have to cross through the firewall, as well as anyone coming through the from the internet, they have to cross this wire. So first of all, we will understand that how to configure the basic setup on this firewall, how the firewall policies work, how you can configure the NAT, as well as you will understand that how you can set up the internet access to all the users and how to restrict that. Also, in that enterprise, we have a data center. In that data center, we have some self servers existing. This data center is protected by two firewalls. These two firewalls are in the HA. So you will also learn the HA configuration, that how the high availability can be configured between of the firewalls, as well as the connectivity from the branch office to the data center is via IPSec tunnel. So you will learn the IPSec side to side IPsec VPN configuration. So in short, you will cover almost everything, which is very important for the interview perspective. Now, whenever I'm just going through this one, I will also cover up like how to take the backup, how the policy can be implemented, on what are the best practices which we should follow to implement the firewalls in the production environment. So let's stop this briefing and start the real thing. I have taken a new firewall, like whatever you see it here, almost like nothing is configured. We have to configure everything by ourselves. So I'm taking this firewall, which is like factory setting. I'm starting this firewall and let's see what are we seeing right now. So once I open it, you will see the console like this, that my FortiGate firewall is starting. If you don't know that how to set up this lab, whatever you are seeing in the background, right? So I will give a description in the link that how to set up an EVNG lab environment in the EVNG. I have like separate recorded session for that one, that I don't want to mix up in the FortiGate and setting of the lab. So this video will be dedicated for the FortiGate firewall configuration. You can watch the description and set up your own EVNG lab. So I will change the font size a little bit so that it could be visible for you clearly. And here we go. So this is like first new firewall. This is like VM version of the firewall. But if you are in the, you have taken any of the hardware of the FortiGate, then you might need to log in via the default IP address, and you have to log in via that. So and by default, the DHCP will assign a IP address in the same range to your machine. So you don't have to worry, just log in via the default IP. Now it needs the default credentials. So default credentials of this firewall are the admin, right? You have to type admin, hit enter. And in the password section, you don't have to enter anything, don't have to type anything, just hit enter. So I will hit the enter key and now it is saying me to change my password. You can set up any of the complex password. I'm setting as an admin123, but don't do that in the production environment. Otherwise, you will be doomed. Anybody will hack your firewall and there's no perspective of the security. So now my firewall is ready. Next thing I have to do, that I have to access this firewall in the GUI. So for that, I have to set up some IP address. Usually it should get default IP, but because of the VM, it's not getting. So I will just configure that manually. So if it is not happening in the production environment with you as well, you can log in the firewall via console and configure the IP address like this. So you just have to mention the command as config system interface, and my port 1 is connected with the console, right? Like this port 1 administrator. So I will modify the port 1. So I will give the command as edit port 1. And then I will set mode as a static because the by default it is in the DHCP mode. So I will change it to the static so that I can assign a static IP address. And I will set IP 192.168.137.101. Okay, so this is the admin IP, and I will put that IP in the same range where my VMware is logged on. Okay, and the magic is here that here you have to give the /24. So if you are from the networking background, you will see that you usually give the IP address like IP, then you give an IP address, and then subnet mask you give like 255.255.255.0. So it's not happening in the FortiGate. FortiGate is smart enough and it understands the slash concept. So if I give the /24, it will understand. I can hit enter. And I'm done with the configuration. And in order to save and commit, I have to give the command as end. So now my configuration is in place. I can check that source system interface port 1. And I can see the configuration, whatever I have done. So you can see that I have given that /24 subnet here, and it has taken as like 255.255.255.0. Access, that what access I have given to this port 1. So you see that it is by default. It has a ping access. I can ping this IP address. I have an HTTPS access for this. I have SSH. I can SSH this IP address, or I can basically like the firewall, as well as I can do the HTTP, and this is for the FortiManager Manager, FGFM access. Okay, so now it's my job, like I'm really curious to see the GUI of the FortiGate firewall. This is for the first time for you. Well, you might be as well, but if you have seen, like some of you might have already worked on the FortiGate, it's like no some for you, but that's okay. So let's be the first timer. I assume that you're a beginner, and let's get fancy. And I will log on the firewall using this IP address, whatever I have just configured. So open a new tab and give an IP address 192.168.137.101. So that's how the login prompt comes. I will zoom a little bit so that you can view it clearly. I will use the same credentials, admin and admin123, what I logged on before. So I'm about to log on to the GUI. So it is asking me that specify the host name because I have not specified or changed the host name. So it's saying that you have not done that. So do you want to begin that one? But I'm not really interested right now because this is not my production environment and I don't want to waste my time in specifying the host and as well as in that dashboard setup. I will just do the dashboard setup later on. And these two things are already in place, like change your password because I changed it via the CLI, and upgrade firmware, that's already in place. Like I do not need to it, but if it's required, we will see it later. So right now, this all the things I will be doing as later. Once you logging in the first time, it gives you this message. So I will ask it that don't show this message me again. I will click OK, and that's how my FortiGate firewall GUI looks like. You can see the different section here. The very first thing you will see that what is the host name, which it was asking me to change. So it is like FortiGate VM 64 kVm. So that's fine. I'm happy with it. But if it is like you are working in the production environment, your organization will be having some standard naming convention. Like you are in, like suppose you are any device in the India, you write like this India. If you there's something like in US, you start with US, so that like you can identify that on which location that firewall is there. So your organization could be multinational company, right? That will be in the US, could be in the UK, will be in Australia, may in like Hong Kong or Singapore, as well as in India. So whenever like anybody is logging onto the firewall, they should be able to identify with that name that okay, on which location your firewall is. So that's like standard uh, convention that we follow it. If it is not the case, you have just like smaller company just in one location in one country, that's not a problem. But it's better that you follow the standard. Even if you expand it after a few years, you need not change your name. After that one, you can see serial number like this. So here, like I want to mention, I don't you know to mention because if you will be working in any of the networking environment, you know how to put the names. So that okay, let's take it. So let's suppose it's in Noida. So you type like an NOI, then you put some serial number like 023, or that's how like, or you can, let's suppose they're in the rack or floor number or on which floor it is, so you can mention like that one. So that's how the naming conventions are there. Now you have the serial number. You can see the serial number of the firewall. So this is the unique serial number of every firewall, and this is the firmware version. You can say the software release, the same thing similar to like in the Cisco, we call it as like iOS. In Panorama, like in the Palo Alto, we call it as like PanOS. Here we call it as a firmware. Sometimes people also call it as like FortiOS. So whatever the name is, but the concept is same, and the version is currently V7. It is in the NAT mode, like the two modes, NAT and transparent mode. So currently this firewall is configured as a NAT mode. System time, you see it here, that what is the right now the time is okay. It's showing as 2023, but this is not too old. I'm recording in end of like 2024. That's not a problem. And later on, like you can see it's uptime. So uptime is like this 1031. Okay. And that's how this WAN IP. Now, if I clear this and show you some important features, you can also see the license information that FortiGate supports. So currently I don't have any of the license because it is like trial version. Okay. And because of the timing issue, it is also giving the warning that FortiGate time is out of sync. So that's not a problem. We'll fix it later on. You can also see the allocated CPUs, that how many CPUs we have allocated for it. It's like 100%. RAM, we have 2 GB RAM, but right now I'm just utilizing 1 GB. Okay. So you can see like in the production environment, the very important thing that we have to see in this one is the session information. So at the, if you scroll down a little bit, you can see the CPU and memory uses. Okay. So for every production environment, or like whenever your firewall is in place, you have to monitor this. So it's not like that you are a firewall admin and you are like 24-hour watching that okay, where's the CPU uses, or what is the memory uses, what are sessions. You don't have to do that one. For that one we have dedicated 24 cross 7 monitoring team. That's like normally knock or sock is doing that part. So you can configure an alert for that whenever the CPU is going beyond certain limit. Let's suppose for the above 80%, you got an alert that okay, CPU uses are going high, and you need to take care of that one. That why that CPU usage is going high, or let's suppose your memory uses is going high, then why it is happening. It could be because of any IPS engine, your sessions are too much, any you see any DOS attack or DDoS attack or anything like something malicious could be the reason, or something malfunction in your environment. For example, your uh, any of the fan is not working, and because of the heating it is happening. So there's like different alerts could be coming on the firewall. So these things like our monitoring team, 24 cross 7 monitoring team is taking care of that one, but we have to be cautious about that one. Whenever they raise an alert, they call you that, okay, this is going to happen, then you should be ready that what next action plan there should be. So if it is able to handle by you, that's fine. If not, you can call the FortiCare for this Fortinet tag support, and then you will be able to handle that situation. So this is about the basic things. So if you know about this one, that's fine. And you could be also knowing about me. So I have like my website, this freshdeveloper.online. Okay, so I will just move further, but I'm just giving you. So there are like some of the recorded sessions as well for the FortiGate, Checkpoint, and Palo Alto. You can just go through this one. That's available on the YouTube. Okay, so that's like YouTube channel, and I'm also running the live classes for the Palo Alto and FortiGate. They are in sequence. And next FortiGate firewall classes I'm going to start on the 21st of July. Okay, so you can register for the demo session. I will be giving you the link in the description section. You can register for that one on the 21st July. That will be in the evening, 8 p.m. IST. Okay, Indian Standard Time. You can just check your timing on your time zone if you are in the different one, and then you can try it. And if you feel good that okay, it could be helping you, you can enroll for the paid batches. So the charges will be something like okay, so currently there's no internet, not a problem. So you can see the, like, you visit my website, this first developer online, and then you can see it here. You can click here on the FortiGate section. You can see all the details over there. All right, so let's continue our session, and let me jump back to our EVNG topology. So currently my core switch is here, access switch is here, and this is my user one. So the very first thing what I'm going to do, I'm going to start these switches. So I'll start this core switch, and to start, I don't want to start all of them. So let me take one sample machine from where I will take. Okay, so let's take this laptop. This looks good to me. Okay, so what I will do, I will try to access internet from this laptop. So obviously, whenever I access it, the traffic will go through this switch, the firewall, and then it should be going to the internet. And I will start this switch. So I'm just being choosy a little bit so that like I do not waste my computer resources. Otherwise, like my laptop gets heated sometimes because it's everything set up on my machine, right? So I will start this machine. User 4 started. Let me check this, why it is not able to start. So that everything is fine. Let me start now. Failed to start node 12. There is some problem with this switch. Okay, let me wipe and try to start. Still not. Let me check this one if I can start. Okay, check this now. Switch one is started. Something wrong with this switch two. But I like my laptop, so what I will do, I will connect my laptop to this one. Okay, I have started it, so I have to shut it down in order to connect it. So this is like EVNG lab thing that whenever you want to connect anything, they should be powered off, then only you will do connect them. So I will connect to 114 and save. Start and start. So that's how, like, if you are a networking guy, you know how to connect the cables and make the things working, right? So if you're not a problem, like you can learn these basic things. These are quite simple. If I open my access switch, you can see the configuration here. Okay, I have to increase the font size as well, but I think this is not important. So I will just say no and let it up everything because this is not essential because we're not going for the switches classes, right? We are just learning the firewall. So I will just do only the firewall part. Now everything is up. It's up, and same thing will be happening for the other one most probably. Let me check the access switch and port switch. And now I take about the core switch. So this is my core switch and this is my access switch. So now everything is up, right? Yeah. So name is router. Don't get confused with that. If you are getting confused, let me change that. Otherwise, we don't have to configure anything on them because they are in the default VLAN and by default the communication will be allowed. So this is like picture of switch. So that's why I do not change the VLAN. Otherwise, we will go deep dive in the networking, right? So I will just change the name so that you do not get confused. To switch and right. And same thing is with this enable config T. If you are seeing the smaller font size, don't worry. It's like we'll skip this part. This is not essential for the 48. So host name, I will put as access underscore switch one. All right, and right. So this is done. Now I will jump to my FortiGate firewall and let me open this machine, which is very essential, right? So if I open this machine, I will be seeing my machine like this. So this is my Windows machine, which is basically quite older and Windows 7. Okay. And I think I cannot zoom it. Somehow I managed to get this much over the screen. I think that's sufficient. I think it should be visible now. And now if I show you the IP address via the command prompt, let me check it out. ipconfig. You see that IP address is 10.1.1.1.10, right? And our interest was to get the IP address 192.168.37.13. So I will just change it from the bottom here. So I hope you know how to change the IP addresses. If not, you can do like this. So follow these options and here you get to change the IP address. So I will put it like 192.168 and then 37.13. And another thing important is the default gateway. So default gateway, I should set the IP address which is configured on the FortiGate. So right now it is not configured. I will configure it, but just let's the machine okay, and I will configure the IP address as 192.168.37.1. Okay, so this is going to be the default gateway, and the DNS address I can put the same, but rather than I will use the Google DNS, which is 8.8.8.8. Click OK, OK, and close it. Now, if I check my IP address on the command prompt, it should has been changed now. If I put ipconfig once again, so now you see that whatever I have changed, now it is reflecting on the CLI. Perfect. So my machine is set. My switch is up because they are in the default VLAN. So they should forward the traffic to this core switch. This core switch is also on the default VLAN. So that should forward the traffic to the 48 file. Cool. So now I open my firewall. So this firewall is not really required to open like this. I will go via GUI. So I go to the GUI. Okay, so the session has expired. I will log it in once again. Cool. So my FortiGate is up, and very important thing, I will configure the interface. So I can go to the network section here, and in the network, you will see all the interfaces, whatever is available. So I configured the port one, which I used for logging in, right? You see that 192.168.137.101, and that's the same IP address from where I have logged on. So this is basically, you can call it as a management interface, and from where I'm logging in. Next thing, I'm interested to configure the interface, this one, port 2, right? So if I go for the port 2 interface, edit, and alias I will give as an internal. You can give anything. Usually for the, because this is going to be an internal network. So okay, let me log it. Otherwise, we'll be getting confused every time. HTML5, no, this native. Okay. So now if I want to see this way, so this is internal network. Everything is behind that one is an internal subnet. So that's why I give the name internal. If you have some other nomenclature on your enterprise, you can follow it, not a problem. Or you can give any other name, or even if you leave blank, that's not a problem. Next thing is like role. You want to configure as LAN, WAN, or DMZ. So obviously, like this is an internal, so we will go for LAN. So even if you don't want to define anything, that's also fine. Next thing, I want to give the IP address as a manual static IP, or I want to give a DHCP or any managed by IPAM, right? So right now I'm going for the manual, and the IP address I'm going to give the same whatever I have shown on the diagram, 192.168.37.1, because the same gateway I have given on the machine as well, right? So I will use the same 192.168.37.1, right? That's what it is, 192.168.37.1, and now the subnet mask, which is showing the red. So I will put /24. Admin ping I will allow, so that if I require ping, I can be able to ping it. Remaining else nothing to configure as of now for my lab. That's okay. Like all other features, like whenever it is required, we can enable, but right now it is not required. So I will keep okay. So my port is configured. Port 2, you can see it here, internal port and IP address is set now. Magic part is that nothing you have to do. Once you click OK, it is instantly applicable. You don't have to commit. Don't have to write. You don't have to push anywhere. Nothing you have to do. You just do it. It's done. Okay. So my interface is okay. Now, if I go to my machine, where it was here, right? Yeah. So if I open my machine, I think it was already open. Should be here. Yeah, here it is. So now I should be able to ping my subnet, like the default gateway. So 192.168.37.1. I'm getting the reply. So now my traffic is clear right now from this machine to this machine, right? So this is my IP. And from here, I'm pinging this IP 37.1, and I'm getting the response. So it means that my traffic is through. There's no problem till now. So next thing, that I have to make the access of the internet, that all these users should be able to access the internet. So right now, if I open the Google Chrome on this PC and I open google.com, I will not be able to open. So it is giving as a resolving host, but after some time, it will give that error that there's no internet. So for accessing the internet, there are like certain things required, because we are using some private IP addresses here. So we need a NAT to access it, right? We need the NAT, as well as we also need the policy to get the traffic out. So if I right now, if I ping from this machine, the Google DNS that I configured as 8.8.8, if I ping that Google DNS, it says the destination net unreachable. Okay, so from where we are getting the reply, we are getting reply from this 37.1, and it is saying that I don't have anything to go out, and also it is getting the request timed out. So they are like uh, alternatively like destination not unreachable timed out. So anyhow, it is not going outside, and it is not sure that where the connectivity is there. If I check the logs of the firewall, right? So if I go, where can I check the logs? I can go to the log and record this section, and there's a forward traffic. Here I should be able to see the log. So right now I don't see anything, which is should not be okay. It takes some time to reflect here, so not to worry. But anyhow, uh, there's a default policy on this FortiGate firewall, which does not allow the traffic to go to the internet or to any interface. So if I go to the policy section, right? So there is a default policy. Let's see what's that default policy. In the policy and objects, I go to the firewall policy, and there is a name as an implicit. Okay, if I expand it, it says the implicit deny. What does that mean? It says that anything like all sources, like traffic is coming from anywhere, like all sources all, any destination going to any other destination, like all sources from all sources to all destination, all the services means that it's talking about the port numbers, like either you are accessing the port 80, you are trying to do ICMP, you are accessing SSH, that is port 22, you are doing the NTP port number 123, whatever you want to access, anything, right? All the services, the default behavior is deny. It says that I will not permit you to go out from any source to any destination, basically from all source to all destination. Ultimately, the conclusion of this is that nothing is allowed. Whatever is getting inside this firewall, that is not allowed to pass through. It's means that anything coming from here is not allowed to pass here. It's not allowed. Neither you can go in this direction or you go in this direction. Nothing is allowed. You came here, you can ping up to this interface only. This is your area. From here, you can communicate to each other. Like this machine can ping here, ping here. There's no firewall in between, right? They can communicate with each other. But now, if they are crossing this boundary, you cannot communicate anywhere. This is the fire function of the firewall. This is the magic of the firewall, that it does not allow anything to go in or out. The same thing happening, like any traffic coming from the internet, it will not allow to pass through. That's like beauty of the firewall. That's the security. If does allow, there's no point of the firewall. So how? Because I need the access to the internet, right? So if it is the default policy, I need an access to the internet. Then how can I access the internet? That's like really challenging. For that, I need a policy. Okay. So what I do, I go to create new policy. Okay. Name, I give it as an internet policy. Okay. The same name I give it, take it here. Okay. Incoming interface, like from where my traffic will be incoming. Okay, so my incoming traffic is on this firewall coming from port 2, right? So I take this as a port 2 here. Going to port 3, I guess. Port 4 towards the internet, right? So I will say that select it as a port 4. Perfect. Source, that what is the source IP address? So there's two ways. For the test, I can allow all the subnets, but right now I'm going to create an address object because I have to cover all the things. So here, what you can do, you can create an address or basically an object. How you can create? You can click it here. There's a new window opens. Here, there is an option for the create an address, right? I'll give a network as a n underscore the same subnet 192.168 dot 37 dot 0. Okay, and I give it like this /24. Okay, so this is just a name. And actual subnet is this 192.168.37.0/24. Click OK. Perfect. And this one, there's one way, like I can click it here, it will be coming here. Other way you can do, you can drag and drop, that will also work. Both the ways you can put it. Destination, I will put it all because this is an internet policy, right? So in an internet, you can be accessing any of the website. We cannot restrict the destination in case you are creating the policy for the internet. For other like one-to-one server policy, you can restrict the destination, but here we cannot restrict. So I'll keep it as an all. Okay. Services, for the simplicity, I'm creating as an all, but in the real environment, you can select HTTPS or HTTP, and sometimes DNS also required if that's not allowed in the other policies. Okay. And accept, traffic type is accept. Obviously, we cannot deny. So if I deny it, you don't see there's all these options, right? So if obviously I have to accept it, deny is already the default policies available for the deny. Inspection mode, currently I'm keeping it as a flow based, not the proxy based. Next thing is a NAT. Obviously, we need an access to the internet. So we also need a NAT, because if you do not configure NAT, how my private IP address will be converted to the public IP address? I cannot access the internet. So if you are like following some other firewalls like Palo Alto, there's like separate tab for the NAT policy. But here, that's like in the FortiGate, everything, like not everything, both security policy, or you can see the firewall policy and NAT, they are in the same page. So here we are configuring the rules that what is permitted, and here we are enabling the NAT. Once you enable the NAT, you see the option what is additional here, right? Once I enable the NAT, it says that what NAT, like on which IP address you want to translate it to. So original IP address, my original IP address is this 192.168.37.13. And once it is reaching the firewall, going to the internet, to whom you want to translate it to, I will say that use outgoing interface address. So this is like default practice by default. Whenever we are creating any policy for the internet, we usually take the outgoing interface address. If not interested, you want to assign your own, you can use this option, use dynamic IP pool. In that case, you have to configure your own IP address that to whom you want to translate it to. So here you can add your IP addresses. You can create an object for that, and then you can add that. But as of now, I'm going to use that, use outgoing interface address. And this is using the PAT, port address translation. Okay. So now this is fine, and I'm not going to enable any of the security profiles as of now. If you want, you can test it, but not required as of now. And obviously, I will enable the policy. And one more thing, I will log all the sessions where it was. Yeah, here, log allowed traffic. So I will log sessions and all sessions. Okay. And I click OK. And now my firewall policy is ready. I have allowed the traffic from this subnet. Okay. And this is at above the implicit deny. So this will be effective. So in this not only in this, the most firewalls, policies are working from top to bottom. So first policy will work, second one will not take an effect. Okay. Now, if I go to my computer where I have to access the internet, let's refresh this page. Is it working? What do you think? Will it work or not? I'm sure it will not work. Okay. So we'll come back later. Why it is not? Let's see the logs very first. That do we get some logs or not? Oh, still we don't see any logs. That's a little strange. Not a problem. But what I have to do, because if you see the topology right now, then in the topology, I have configured the IP address on port 2, but I haven't configured on the port 4. So obviously we need something to go out, right? Otherwise, how the port 4 will work? So that's what I have to configure. I will go for the port 4. So I go to network section and interfaces port 4. So I will configure port 4. So two ways. Same way, I can go for like this is going to be internet port. Okay. And role, let it be undefined, not a problem. And this time I'm going to use it as a DHCP. Fine. So in the DHCP, I don't have to give anything. It will take by default from that interface. And let's allow that HTTPS and ping both. Cool. And okay. So after some time, it will check and assign the IP address on the port 4. So we have got the IP address on the port 4, that 192.168.137.139. Actually, this port 1 IP was something creating the problem in the creating of like our opening our Windows machine. So I have changed this port 1 IP as well. And as a result, if I open the machine here, our laptop, and then it is opening like this. So like you can uh, see, and I think I'm able to open that internet as well. Let me check it. Okay, this is some other page. User 4. Okay, yeah, this is it. So now if I hit enter on google.com, here we go. We are able to open the internet. And one more thing, like let's check the logs, because if we are able to open google.com, youtube.com, right? So what should be the logs? We should be able to see the logs that we are accessing these websites. So it's loading, it's taking some time because it is inside our EVNG setup. So a little bit slow, but trust me, it is working. It is not giving an internet error. Another thing, like I have to look onto the logs, that am I able to see the logs of this one or not? So I go to log and report and then click on the forward traffic. Cool. Now I see the logs. So these are like just 8 seconds ago, and I tried to open youtube.com. So if you want to see like more insights of that log, so you can just double click of this one, that row, and in the right side you will see this window. It just gives you the more detail about the traffic logs, whatever we are seeing. Absolute time. So date and time, what at what time you try to access, duration, that at how much time it took, what's the session ID 2537, okay, and whatever the source IP, right, 192.168.37.13. So that's like traffic we are coming getting from, like 192.168.37.13. So that's like we're expecting. And where is it going? It is going to youtube.com. So it should be going to destination, this one, United States. So that's like uh, Google server or YouTube server could be in the US, which is serving our request, and that's why it is going to US. What port number it is hitting? It is using utilizing port number 443. So just to make keep your in your mind, this is the destination port number, and this is the source port. So we are always focusing the destination port number, or we are rarely worried about the source port number. Interface, on which interface is getting exit, so that is all the port 4. So if you see here, that's port 4, and that's what it should be. And inlet, it incoming traffic should be 4.2. So in source, it is from the port 2. Action, it is saying that ACP reset from client. That's okay. I think that has denied something. Could be the time or some security issue because of that. But usually you don't see, if you see this TCP reset from client, it means that it is having some problem, like communication could not be the proper, or that could be that one reason that it has like gracefully like reset the connection. It something, everything has been done and then it is resetting the connection. So usually it shows a TCP fin, but sometimes I think it's creating problems. Not a problem. Let's open one more website like this, facebook.com, and let's see if I able to see those logs here or not, as well as my website. So we will just check all these REST developer. Dot online. Okay, I tried to open first also, right? So that's fine. That's my website, the first page. And okay, Facebook has opened, so unsupported browser. That's fine because we are using that Windows 7 and that's quite old Windows. So, but we should be able to see these logs in here. So we can refresh it and we can see the latest logs. Now, the very first thing, like it is a destination, you can check it out where it is traveling. So this is like fresh developer.online. So if I double click this one, okay, now you see that the action is accept. That's what usually you get it. That okay, it is session has started and the communication is happening properly. Okay, so I also have like this Google Analytics available on my website included. So that's why I think it's sending that traffic to that G static as well. Could be. I'm not 100% sure that that's that traffic, but yeah, whenever you are accessing the internet in any of the web page, there's a lot of things which are included as a part of like your page, and those are accessed. So for example, you are using YouTube, something advertisement is shown here. So if that advertisement is going to some other place, so that's also happening. Okay, so that's how my page is also open. Anyways, like internet is working and you are able to see the log. So we are happy that we are able to see the internet, right? So let me remove, I think, I don't know from where they came. Cool. So now if we see the logs, we or the discuss that what we have covered. We took a machine here, we traversed traffic through here, we go to the internet. So we covered the security policy, or we can say this firewall policy, that how you can create the security policy. Inside the security policy, we also cover that how you can include an address object over there by creating like subnet we created and then we added. Similarly, we can also add a single IP or large number of things there. We also looked onto the NAT. Obviously, we did not went to so much theoretical session, but we understood that how basically we can configure a NAT in a security policy. Also, so and you can restrict the traffic, that what are the websites you can access by including them in the policy. All right. So that's it about the firewall policy and NAT. And I think you already be aware that I'm running that live classes as well. So if you're interested to enroll for them, just join our first demonstration, which is usually on 21st. But in case you missed that one, I'll be just doing the same on next week. I think most probably should be on 27 or 28. So if you are watching that after 21st, just you can also register for the second session. So that's not a problem. And obviously that's going to be a paid session, and the course and fee structure, that how much I charge and all that you can see on my website, freshdeveloper.online. You can go to this FortiGate firewall course here, and you can see the details that whatever is available. Also some of the content that what I'm going to cover. I will update a little bit more details here. And this is going to be 4998. And the yeah, just timing I have to change. I'm not organizing it at 8 a.m. That has to be 8 p.m. So I will change that in the website. Okay, so that will be 8 to 10 p.m. Okay, so if you want to join that free sessions, maybe one of us or second, you can enroll from the description section. I will include a Zoom session link for the registration. You can register from there. All right, so let's move further. Another thing, like whenever you want to take the backup of the firewall, like whenever we are doing any upgrade or uh, any policy push we are doing, whatever we do, we just take the backup. So you can go to this admin section, configuration, and you can take the backups. So there are two ways available. Either you can do on a local PC, or if you have added an USB disk on a hardware, so that there you can do there. Okay. So if I click on the local PC, a backup file will be downloaded. So you can view this file here. If I open this, I can see all the configuration that whatever is available on my FortiGate firewall. You can read all those information. All right. So whenever just you try to implement any change, you just do these backups. And if you want to restore that one, you can go to this configuration and restore. And you can just restore whatever you have just downloaded, like or like any modification if you want to do, you can do those. Okay. Next thing is our revisions. Like whenever we don't want to export those backups because those are the backups you can export it, but if you don't want to export any of the backup, you can save those revisions on your firewall. But just make sure that if your firewall get corrupted, these revisions or whatever you have saved here, those will be lost. All right. So this is another thing. And next thing, like you can how to do the firmware upgrade. So for that, you can go to the device section. Where is my device? Okay, system, sorry. So if you go to the system, you go to the firmware. All right. So it's already up to date, but you can see that how you can like have the section available. You can uh, have the internet connectivity. You can download directly, go there. But in case you want to don't have the connectivity to the internet, you can download from the support portal. You can upload that firewall image here, and then you can just confirm and backup configuration. So when you just confirm it, the backup it is taking by default. You don't have to take like specifically backup, but it's like safe. You can take that backup as well, and then you proceed. So even if you like miss from this, it will take a backup. All right. So this is it about our these basically software upgrade and how to take the backups. Let's move to the other connectivity, like from these firewalls. Like first, we will move to IPSec channel, or let's configure the HA configuration first. Okay, so I will start these two firewalls. They should be also brand new. The problem is like I cannot zoom it. You cannot see the font size. I can zoom it. Still, you see the another way I can do. I can log out from here and log in via HTML5 console, and it will be, sorry, native console, and it will be opening on the PuTTY. So that I can zoom it. So if I click now, it will open a PuTTY session, and there I can change the setting and make it visible for you. So that's what I'm going to do now. All right. So here we go. Let's pick it admin and login incorrect. So I think the password is already there. I will just do the same thing. Okay, it's taking. Let's me see that if I have the IP address configured. So there's IP 192.168.137.102. That's not the right way. I will config, make that change. Because the IP address should be in the same subnet, otherwise I will not be able to access it. Okay, so I will make it 150. Okay, slash 24, and same thing I will do for the I think it's not required to do for the second one, or I need it. I have to do it. Though, like whenever I do the HA configuration, the policies will be like automatically synced up between them. But still, I just want to have to do that one. So for the second firewall, I will configure the basic things. Okay, it doesn't have the IP address. I think it doesn't have any configuration, so I will just do initial configuration as well. Config system interface, set it port 1, set mode static, and then set IP 192.168.30.151/24 and end. Now I should be able to access both the firewalls. Let me do that. 192.168, 30.150, admin, admin 123. So this is my first firewall. Okay, it is saying the some license issue. I have to clear that one, not a problem. So if you also face this issue, you can clear your browser, and then you may not be wipe your image, not clear your browser. 68.30.151. Okay, so for both it is saying that one. So what I will do, I will just quickly wipe them and do some configuration and then get back to you. Otherwise, it will take a lot of time. Okay. So because this is initial configuration, we have done the same thing on this firewall. You have to do same way. Okay. And I will just come back for the HA configuration. Now I'm able to log in both the firewalls. So the Fortinet one, I will be logging in with the IP address 192.168.30.150. So that I have already logged in. And second one is the 151. So I will just log in that as well. So that's it. Okay. And now I will be doing one thing, that I will zoom first, and then whatever the configuration I will do, then I will do that for the uh, like only for the one firewall, but that will be I will doing the HA configuration, so that will be synced up with the second firewall. Okay. So what I do right now, our like target will be that this user 192.168.30.7.13. Okay, I will just take any other user, and that just will try to ping this any of the server. Okay, so I can take this server as well, .20, and that should be pingable. But before that, that's two things I have to do for that configuration. I will do HA, and then I will configure the IPsec tunnel between these two. So first, very quickly, I will just allow that policy that I permit this IP address, this one, this subnet to this subnet 172.16.1.20. Okay, so and as well as I have to do the interface configuration because that I haven't done. So let's do the interface configuration very first, and then we go for the policy. Interfaces, port 3. Okay. So port 3, I'm giving this IP 40.196.196.2. I will tell you later on that why I'm giving this IP. Port 3. Now let me keep them nearby. So these are like very important and complex topics. This HA and IPsec. So I'm going to cover these both of them. So if I go for the configuration of the port 3 areas, I will say site to site. Okay. And next thing is IP address that I'm going to give 40.196.196.1, right? That's what I mentioned here. Okay, .2 I have mentioned here. So I will do .2. And subnet I'm giving as a /24. Like /30 will also work, but I will keep /24. Ping I will allow for admin, and that is okay. Everything's fine. Next thing I have to configure the port 2. Okay, so 172.16.1.1. Port 2, edit, And let's leave everything, just the IP address. 172.16.1.1.1. And let's keep that as well in the /24. Let's keep the ping ongoing. So interface configuration is done. Now I will just permit that the connectivity, that's 192.168.37.1 from here to here. Okay. So policy, mm, policy and objects. Go to the firewall policy, create new policy, and that I will say the DC access. Okay, so DC means that data center access, and incoming interface will be port 3. The traffic will be coming from port 3. No, that should be coming from the VPN interface. So because that will be, so I'll change that policy later on. Okay, so let's keep it as this as of now, but I have to change that one when I configure the site-to-site VPN and going to port 2. I'm configuring this policy because I want to show you that whenever I do HA, the policies are being synced up from this firewall to other firewall. Okay, so all the configuration, whatever is here, that will be pushed to second firewall. And NAT this time we are not doing because we are not going to the internet. Okay, and log all the sessions and put OK. So if you just let's focus, then I have the configuration on the 150 IP address, like on the Fortinet 1. Second, FortiGate, I don't have any interface configuration. Okay, nothing here. Just port one to just to log on. And policy also, I haven't done any policy. Okay. Next thing I have to do that the HA configuration. So I will configure HA in both the firewalls. So I will go to the systems, and here we have the high availability. So currently they are in standalone mode. Standalone mode, like every firewall is working on their own, but I want to make them in the HA. And in HA, we have two states, active and active passive. Active means both the firewalls will be working and sharing the traffic, and active passive, one will be active and another will be on the standby, and that will be just monitoring. Whenever one of the firewall goes down, another will take the traffic instantly. Next thing, we need the device priority. So I'm keeping the device priority 128 as of now, and group name I can give like my cluster or my HA, whatever you want. Password, I will change it and keep it as a Cisco. Okay. Or let's keep Cisco 123. Okay. So this is the password right now. Session pickup, I don't want to enable as of now. Session pickup for the session oriented firewalls. We'll cover it later on. Monitor interface, like which interface we need to monitor that whether my firewall has gone down or not. So for that one, we have this interface port 4. Okay. So I will use interface port 4 here. Okay, so it's already open, port 4, and here also on the port 4 because heartbeat. Okay, monitor I not required as of now. I will just add the heartbeat. Monitor interface like is like what interface you want to monitor whenever like you want the failover. So heartbeat is the port 4. That's like sending heartbeat to another firewall, not the monitor one. Okay, and let them other one as it is. We will not change that one. Click OK. So now our firewall is like primary, and because it's an active but doesn't have like synchronization going up with the other firewall right now. Next thing, we need the IP address on the heartbeat. Like whenever port 4 will send the heartbeat, we also need an IP address on the port 4. So let's do that as well. And just keep in mind that whatever the configuration will be sync up, HA configuration will not sync up. Other configuration policy, network interface, they will sync up, but not these HA parameters. Okay. So if I go to okay, first firewall, go to network and interfaces, port 4, edit, and here I'm going to put the IP address 1.1.1.1. Okay, and let's keep it /32. Oh, sorry, /30. Secondary IP address. No, that's not there. And let's go to HA here as well. Okay, let's do the interface very first. Policy network, interfaces, and port 4. I will not configure remaining, just port 4 to get the heartbeat running. Okay. So I will put the IP address 1.1.1.2 and slash 30. Okay. Next thing we will configure HA. So device system HA, put them in active passive. Device priority, let's make it, okay, let it be same. I will just explain that later on. And group name, I will give as a myHA. Okay. And password, I will put as a Cisco123 as whatever I have configured on the other one. Okay. So Cisco123. Heartbeat is port 4, and that's okay. So now we see both the firewalls in the here synchronized, not synchronized, right? This is the primary, this is secondary. So you see that it has made sure that which firewall is going to be primary and which is secondary automatically. Okay. So system uptime for both of them is same 3 hours 34 minutes. Okay. And now it just looks onto the serial number to give the uh, preference that which one will be primary. So it look on through the serial number, and based on that, whatever will be having the lower one, that becomes the primary. So that should be very soon synchronized. Okay, two tables out of sync. Let's check on other one. What is happening there? Okay, lost connection to the 48. Fine. Okay, that's fine. So it will take a reboot, and that firewall will be coming back. And the thing will be there. It will also sync up the primary IP address, sorry, this management IP address from where you're logging in right now. So we are having this 150 IP address 150, and this one is having 151. But after they come up, once you log on, you will always be able to log on to the primary firewall. You will not be able to log on to the secondary firewall. If you specifically want to look some configuration, you can do like changeover, and then only you can do. If you specifically want, you have to configure the management route specifically for that, and then only you will be able to do that one. Okay. So it will take a reboot and come back. Meanwhile, let me refresh that. So it's rebooting. Let me check the secondary sync external. Okay. So source system interface port 1. Here we have the IP address 150. And if we log into the second one, source system interface port 1. That's having the 151. So they have not synced up yet. Let's see. And let's see the status of the HA. So you can run this command, source system HA. So group name is my HA, that is fine. Override is disabled. So system, okay, get system HA status. So if I do the status, the primary is this one and secondary is this one. That's fine. And let's check the same thing on the other one. Get system HA status. It says the primary is XF53. It says the primary is okay. So both says that okay, this XF53 is the primary. It means they have like agreed that okay, this is going to be primary and another one going to be secondary. Okay. So now if I refresh this and let's check the serial number here, the dashboard. So whatever is this 53, that is having the uh, primary firewall. Okay. So if I go to the HA here, okay, I refresh this. So configuration is not sync up. That's not a much problem. But IP address, let me check the IP address once again. 151, and this one 151. Okay, so now both are having the IP address 151. So 150 has been lost, and both the firewalls are having the IP address 151. And if I log on, I will be logging on to this firewall only. Okay. Next thing, like if you want to see the status, you can add here like a new dashboard, or I think I can add here. Let me try to add widgets, and there should be an HA here. Okay, not coming. So I will try to add here, and then let's see if it is available there. HA, delete this. Click OK, add widget. And here, if I say as the HA, okay, so now we have this HA status. I will add widget, and that should be showing here. All right, so now I can see that which one is primary and which is secondary, right? So this is not synchronized. View it is so hierarchy status. Okay, so we will just like take some take some time, some of the time like to sync up. Meanwhile, I will proceed for the IPSec tunnel configuration. Okay, so whenever you are going to configure the tunnel between, so right now I'm going to configure tunnel between this coordinate and here. Okay, so they should be in sync. That not in sync. Like the thing is, usually we are having the public IP address connectivity between here, right? Because this could be an internet access, right? Let me check it whether I can ping it or not. Port 3. Think if I configure this IP address, they will not be able to ping, but let's try. We'll check it out. If not working, then we'll take some other way. Okay. So very first thing, like if I modify this firewall here, where is the 100 one? So right now I will log into 100. Hmm. So let me check the IP. I think I forgot the IP of the first server. Little uh, low in memory because of a lot of things running in backend. Admin, admin 123. So system interface port 1. Okay, we were having 101. So I'll add 101. Here we go. Admin, admin 123. So this is going to be like very long session. I think you might have get bored, but still hard work is required to get something, right? That's what I'm also doing. So anyways, I have to jump to network interfaces, and now I will check the IP 40.196.196.1. I think I have already configured. No, not here. 3. Slash 24. So if I go to this CLI, okay, and if I run ping, no, here it needs the command execute ping 196, sorry, 40.196, 196 dot 2, right? So 2 is the far end IP. So if I try to ping that one, I am positive that it will not be working. I have to change the IP addresses, or I need to configure them in the mode of like DHCP. Then only they could be. Another way I can try execute ping, and let's check it out if I have the source now. Execute ping. So it is not pinging. I have to change the IP address here. And the IP address I have to put, like, there is two ways. Either I can break the connectivity here and add a switch to make sure, and I need to most probably change the IP address, or let's make it simple, and let's delete this and add a switch 3725. Now I have to switch off the both this company as well. Then only I can, right? So I will add a node and 3725. That's here. So for you, like in the real environment, the only thing is like you should be able to ping IP address. Why I don't want to change it? Because I want to keep them as a public. If I don't keep them as a public, you will not get the real feel. Usually, this environment is like not controlled by us. So if I, you can also think it like internet or cloud. Okay, so you don't have to worry that it is a switch or something. The only thing what you have need that they should be able to ping it, right? So if I modify and add a switch as well here in the slot, okay, and now I will add here to FA1 slash 0 and FA1 slash 0, both of them, and same time here that need to be connected on port 3 and FA1 slash 1. Save and put them on. Start, start. Okay, this could also be one of the problem, but I'll check that later. You feel it like IPSec. Let me change the name as to IPSec. Hello. No, okay. I have to return to score there. So whenever you do in the lab, like you have to prepare environment like a production environment, because you cannot afford so much money to buy all the products and get the real lab, right, and even if you get the production environment, you cannot play with that. If any of the tunnel is running, you cannot put them down and remove that interface. You will be having like outage in your environment. So that's how we have to play anyways. So now if I try to ping it from here the same way, okay, so main and 1 2 3, execute ping host 46, sorry, 40.196.196.2. It's saying something. Okay, host is not required. This is the Palo Alto command. Execute ping only this. Need to switch that on as well. Forgot this middle one. No, and let them be up and it should be able to ping. So this is like basic requirement whenever you are going to configure any IPsec tunnel. The first thing is like there should be a reachability. You might not be able to ping, but you have to make sure that you have the reachability from this to here. If you don't have the reachability, even if you configure the IPsec tunnel, they will not come up. So now if I execute this, it should be fine. No, still not. Okay, let's try from other one. If I open this firewall, okay, that's little strange because this is not able to ping its own IP address, I think, right? Okay, try to ping two. So this is little complex one. Even if it does not work, I will like tell you that how to configure IPsec tunnel. Okay, that is more important rather than this wasting time here. Okay, so if I go to network interfaces, okay, all right. So the thing is like during the sync up, it has not the other one firewall where we haven't done the configuration that has like taken up the priority. So I need to configure the IP addresses once again so that like I can show you the IPsec. So the port 3 was this 40. So let me configure that quickly. I was thinking so that it has the wrong firewall has taken over. 196.2/24. Cool. Let me try now. Here we go. So finally we're able to ping it. And if I go here, okay, so one should also be, yeah. So now we have the reachability. Now let's jump onto the IPsec tunnel. Okay, so if I open this firewall here, that is having 101 IP address. Okay, the first firewall in our branch firewall, we can say. Okay, so in the branch firewall, first I have to create an interface. Okay, so if I go to the VPN, and on the VPN, I can go to the IPsec. There's two ways. Either you can use wizard or you can configure them manually. So easy way to use this wizard. So I'll also use the same thing. Okay. So name I will give as uh, branch to DC S2S. That's side to side VPN basically. All right. And what we want to configure, we want to configure side to side VPN. Okay. So let's do this. And it's not giving an option, at most 50 characters. Okay, so I think I have to put underscore here. I think I have reached more limit. Yeah, so branch to DC. And now I can go to click on next. So remote IP address, that what is the remote IP address? So remote IP address from this firewall will be 40.196.196.2. So I will put that 40.196.196.2. So outgoing interface, it has selected automatically, and pre-shared key is basically the password that we need to authenticate. So I will put the same password, Cisco123, my favorite one. Okay, so next, local interface. So local interface is like from where the traffic will be coming, right? So for this, I will take the local interface as a port 2 because my U computers are behind this one. So local interface is going to be port 2 here. So I will select as a port 2 internal, and local subnet, obviously like the 37 is behind this one, right? You see 192.168.37, so that it has selected automatically. Remote subnets, you can mention that what the remote subnets you want to permit it. So those are 172.16.1.0 network that we are going to access from here. So I will write here 172.16.1.0/24. So this is, you should be very good in networking to understand this concept. Otherwise, it is going to be hard for you. So once I click create, it will be like running a script, and it will do all those things. Phase one, phase two, phase, or I think it will create an interface. It will also create the policies, and then it will assign it. Okay. So I will just click on create. It will do all the things for me. Okay. So currently our phase one tunnel is down. That's okay. Let's configure on the other firewall as well. So I will also configure my port 2 with the IP address 172.16.1.1, so that we will be at least in a situation that our ping may work. Okay, 16.1.1.1. I think some of you, like if you are watching it first time, it will be like really hard for you to understand all these, but that's how it works. So you have to, if you like watching it first time, going to be tough little bit for you, but you have to watch that again, get some theoretical knowledge, and then you become expert. Obviously, I'm sure that if you're watching first time, it's like going to be very tough for you to understand it. Okay, so click OK. Now I will go for the site to site tunnel configuration here. So VPN, IPsec tunnels, and create IPsec tunnel. Same name, DC2 branch. Okay. Next, remote IP address. Remote IP address this time is going to be this 40.196.196.1. Okay. Pre-shared key, I'm putting the same as Cisco123. Next, local interface. This time our local interface is port 2. And remote subnet is going to be 192.168.37.0/24. Okay, so this is the interface, like this network 192.168.37.0 complete network I'm talking about. If you have larger subnet, that you have to give it here. Next, and it will create my tunnel. So VPN has set up. Now we can see the VPN channels here. So now this is our DC2 branch, right? And inactive currently. So that's okay. Like whenever we don't have any traffic, it usually remains down. Next thing is we have to make them up, right? So you can go to this dashboard once again, status, and in the widgets, I will add, or let me add here if I have IPSec. Okay. So add monitor. Okay, here it just came automatically. So now we have this our DC to branch, right? So now if I select it here, it gives you both the options that bring up, bring down, right? So I'm selecting as a like all phase two selectors you want to make them up or just phase two. So I'm just selecting all phase two. So once I click it here, like by default, my firewall came up. So you see that both the phase one and phase two, both are up. So it means that our channel is working perfectly. Cool. Now, if I try to ping from this user who is here and to this server, now this is going to be really challenging and quite tough. Okay. Let me tell you that. Why I'm telling that? Because it needs a lot of routing in between. So if you understand the routing, that's fine. If not, it is going to be very tough for you. Or I think I will leave this part for the next time. I can just summarize you that what you have to do if you are reaching here. Okay. So what you have to do, or this will be like homework for you. And just also tell me in the comment section that are you able to do it or you stuck. So I will just give a solution over there. It will like homework for you, right? Because uh, hardly some of you will reach up to here. If you reach it, you should get some homework as well, right? So what you have to do, very first thing, like from here, there's no problem. The traffic will reach up to here. The problem will be the routing at this stage. Here you have to add a static route that please send all the traffic which is targeting for the destination 172.16.1.0/24 towards this interface. You can also configure to the tunnel interface if the tunnel interface is created, okay, to the IPsec tunnel interface. And whenever it is reaching here, that's not a problem because it knows it has to exit from here. If not, just configure an static route and make that exit towards the O2. All right. Same thing you have to do from here, right side, like whenever the reply traffic is coming from here, you need a route towards this subnet 192.168.37.0/24 for the return traffic. So both the ways, and same thing you have to put it here. Like return traffic will be coming. If it is finds that port 2, that is fine. If not, you can configure the static route. Both the ways it could be done. So that's what only you have to do. And in remaining in between, that's not required because they are just simply switches. And even if it's like you see that this is a like a production environment, this is like a responsibility of the service provider that they make that everything is running. Your job is only to manage from here and here. Remaining everything is just service provider. Even if this is your switch, so just a switch. You don't have to worry about that. This path, this IPsec tunnel path is completely managed by service provider. So, all right. So I think we have just quite a long video for this one, and I hope it was really helpful for you. And obviously, like it is, I understand that it is tough, and you cannot uh, without theoretical knowledge, it is really hard to configure all those things. So you need some theory and then you need some uh, lab session. So you can like join my session if you are really interested in learning. If not, just browsing, that's okay. If you are just serious, you can configure and go to this my page. Here I'm configuring, and you can just like look on to the next available batch that whenever I'm going to start the next session of the FortiGate firewall. Okay. So the timings right now, I'm going to start next one from 21st July. So it could be mm, like first of them it will be demo session, and it could be like 1 or week delay as well. So I will be providing a free Zoom session for first few sessions. You can enroll on them free of cost. If you feel good, you can proceed for it. Else, not a problem. So just register for our free sessions over Zoom. What the link I will providing in the description. You can register for them. And there are some self-learning as well. Like if you are weak in the networking, you can go on the CCNA part. Okay, if you are good at like this FortiGate, a firewall, checkpoint, and Palo Alto, these things also you can learn it here. All right. So I think this should be cybersecurity. I don't know why it is coming like this. Okay, this should be coming like this: cybersecurity and then CCNA. Usually Linux fire hacker system. So I think I have to change that header. So for you, just I'm a developer as well, and I do manage this website. Like I have developed this one, and I do most of the things by my own. All right, all right, guys. So really happy to help you for any of the queries you have, and just finish your homework and do to let me know that you able to ping it. And if you have a doubt, so just write in the comment. I will be really happy to help you out for those. And feel free to get in touch on the contact us number. This is my WhatsApp. That should be here somewhere. Yeah. So these are the my contact details, and that was also available in the topology, like here, contact. Okay. And this is my website, freshdeveloper.online. You can like what you can find. All right, guys. So that's quite enough. See you soon in the next video. Till that, bye bye.